will know that I have struggled with binging, purging. I was never diagnosed with anorexia, but I was extremely underweight. Hello everyone and welcome back to Vlogmas. I am coming on like this because this is basically a reflection of what my life has been for the last week. I was in the middle of filming, obviously Vlogmas, I think it was like day 10 or 11, and I injured my back and I have been basically in bed for the guts of like a week, and today is like first day that I'm feeling semi-normal, actually able to get out of bed and get out and about. So I'm very sorry that Vlogmas was interrupted, but today's video is the vlog that I was filming, and then I actually decided to add in a little chat at the end. Just a little bit of a reality check of how my life was while I was injured. I found it really difficult. I was in a lot of pain. I was basically in bed 24/7, not able to work out, and there was a lot of kind of old body image, food disordered thoughts that arose, and I was able to journal about them and able to process them. And basically at the end of this video I just wanted to fill you in and have a little bit of a chat with you about all of that and what I experienced and what I learned from the entire week of being bedridden, which is something I'm not good at because, as you know, I like to work out a lot, and even during my pregnancy, that is my life and the source of my happiness. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Thank you so much for your patience in waiting for Vlogmas to return, and I am officially back on the wagon. So do subscribe if you haven't already so that you get to see the daily videos. There's going to be loads before the new year, perhaps not every day, but I am determined to film all of that fun content I had planned because there was some good stuff in there. So enjoy the video and see you soon. I'm sorry, but like, I can't not go home without this. So my sister-in-law had her baby yesterday, and then my brother-in-law is due his baby any day. So my sister-in-law had a baby girl, so I just got her a little cardigan in Zara Home, but I need to get like white little leggings to go with. I'll show you when I get them, and then I need to get something gender neutral for my brother-in-law's baby because we don't know what it is yet. So back to El Corte Inglés, my favorite. So it's Friday night and Connor doesn't like over the weekend if we don't go out for dinner at least once. So he's very upset because I would like to get a takeaway tonight, and tomorrow night we're doing something special which will be coming up on my Vlogmas, but it involves not going out again. So he's in a bit of a strop. So our outing is very exciting. While we wait for our takeaway, we're going down to the new Aldi, which has opened on our street, literally a minute away. So I'm giddy because supermarkets in Lisbon are a bit of a pain. It's probably the main thing that is difficult about living in Lisbon, and it's the most common thing that I've heard people moving here being like supermarkets are a nightmare. Anyway, so we usually have to trek a little bit to good supermarkets. So this Aldi is literally 2 minutes down the road, and yeah, we're gonna go for a browse, and hopefully that will suffice for Connor's craving of a Friday night out. Okay, hello, just a bag. So one of the coffee buttercream, one of the salted caramel mushroom white, white with strawberry and rhubarb cream, the dark chocolate with caramel and salt.
One or two?
One. And then the ganache milk chocolate with hazelnut. Yes, yes. They have sprites! Sprites! Yes! Oh my god, this is so exciting. Kale! Oh my god. $1.99.
I was just going to say another plate.
Got it, and look. It's only $1.99.
Do they have the flakes?
No, but
You like this?
I like that.
Yeah.
What are you gonna get?
Do you know?
Do they have Time Classics?
I don't see any.
Oh, they look. They have the jelly. Favorites.
Now, where's the cereal?
Cereal aisle actually isn't the best, but it's the next one over. Now I have no idea where this vlog is, but it's Sunday and we are on our way to a new brunch spot. Connor's wanted to try this place for ages. I've actually just eaten, so I won't be eating, but he wants to get, it's like a sandwich place and it looks really good. So I'll bring you along, and then I think we're gonna try and do some other Christmassy stuff if the weather allows. Now what would we say about our sandwiches?
Liked it.
Connor likes to go into a lot of detail.
Beef.
Liked it, but it was no. So very, very good food. Very, very good service.
Yep.
Probably one of the best service we've had in Lisbon, and slightly overpriced. But the food was good enough that we would definitely go back. So I think that is overall probably about an 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
Go on, Mary. Connor, your double chin is not looking good in this anglais. Sexy. it just wasn't meant to be. I basically, like I said in the beginning, injured my back, and this is the most presentable I have looked in, so yeah, maybe 8 days. I've been literally in bed, not being able to move, and in a lot of pain and feeling sorry for myself for the last 8 days. So yeah, basically I wanted to come on to finish this vlog to give you some element of substance. During the week that I was in bed, I did have a total pity party. I found that there were just a few things that were super intense in my thought process about my body, and I actually realized while journaling about it and while thinking about it that there were a lot of positives that came out of it. And I think for me anyway in my life, I always in hindsight realize how much good comes from something hard and something challenging. And last week was super challenging, even though it was only a week that I was completely out of action. Being in bed and in pain for that amount of time is challenging for anybody. So anyway, I wanted to basically share a few things about what I thought and what I felt and how I have been able to see the positives as a result. So basically, for those of you who have followed me for a while, either here or on social media platforms like Instagram, will know that I have struggled with binging, purging. I was never diagnosed with anorexia, but I was extremely underweight, basically eating 1 meal a day when I was around 20. And yeah, so I have kind of dealt with issues around eating and disordered eating since I was about 19-20, and I always feel kind of nervous about talking about this, because I do feel you get revelations and you get times in your life where you either working out or eating healthily is really accessible to you and super easy, and you think that everything is perfect and that you've kind of figured it all out and that everything's going well. And then it comes to a time in your life, let's say like this week, where things were hard and I wasn't able to work out, I wasn't able to do my regular routine, and the thought process around my body was super negative. So I never want to come on here and give answers or say I've got it all sorted out, and you know, but I do think it's important to focus on the positives and the good. So basically this week I wasn't able to exercise, and I went into a bit of a hole where all I could see, I could barely look at myself in the mirror. I just couldn't. And this, as I've discussed on my Instagram, is a lot of what I've experienced through my pregnancy, and just not liking the changes in my body and being quite out of control. And obviously this week, not being able to work out, I was just so negative about my body and was panicking about not being able to work out. But in saying that, I did realize that my attitude toward food, on the other hand, has completely transformed. So even though my relationship with my body image and how it looks and how I would like it to look and how I resist how it looks sometimes, my relationship with eating and food, I thought it was amazing how I was able to focus on that this week, and it really brought it to the fore. Previously, if I wasn't able to work out in a day, or if I missed a workout, or I felt like I had eaten too much the day before, I would completely try to control my eating. I would plan for the entire week. I would almost starve myself, so I would cut back on calories. I would skip meals. I would, you know, not eat carbs, even though for years I didn't eat carbs at all. So I was able to realize that this week, when I wasn't able to exercise at all, there was no part of me that was like, oh, I can't have chocolate today, but I was able to focus on the fact that it's been so long since I've counted calories or used my FitnessPal or tracked my meals or planned my meals. I was able at the weekend to, you know, have whatever I wanted, and also it just made me realize small things that I now do around food that I would just never have done before. So for example, eating carbs is something I do all of the time. Maybe they're healthy carbs like potatoes or things like that, but that's something I would never have done before, even like at the weekends and stuff, just insane. And this weekend, even though again I was sick and I wasn't working out, I never for 1 minute thought, okay, well that means I have to restrict on carbs or the amount of meals I eat or the amount I eat out. So that was something I realized. Another thing I realized is that when I do overeat now, I don't see it as binging, or there are times where at the weekend I will eat until I'm uncomfortable. And before I would have seen that as such a negative thing, and I would have beaten myself up about it afterwards, and I would have labeled it as binging, and would have labeled myself as someone having issues with overeating or dieting or whatever it was. And now I just see it as somebody who loves food, and sometimes the weekend food is my way of enjoying myself, and getting, like, experiencing pleasure from food is something that I love to do. Connor loves to do, and sometimes we do that and sometimes we don't at the weekend, and I no longer label it as something negative. Another thing that this week taught me was I got to the weekend and we had kind of made a lot of plans around food, which a lot of the time we do, but I feel I have very much changed in the way that I plan my meals. Like I don't really plan my meals anymore, and even though we sometimes obviously will book into restaurants, I very much wait until kind of the weekend or mealtime to really figure out what I'm in the mood for. I realized that before, when I was controlling what I was eating so much and restricting myself so much, I was so obsessed with planning those kind of treat meals, or those times where I was going to break the rules or allow myself to eat kind of those bad foods. And now, you know, I realized that firstly, not forcing myself to eat kind of that healthy meal that I have planned. Let's say for lunch on a Thursday, if I had previously, like years ago, I would have planned all of my meals, I would have got to mealtime, and even if I wasn't in the mood to eat that meal, I would have to eat it because it was healthy and it was what I had calorie counted for that day. And then I would afterwards not be satisfied because it wasn't what my body was craving or in the mood for, and eventually that would result later in binging or having to compensate to satisfy myself. Whereas now, you know, we'll get to the weekend and Connor will want a McDonald's or a pizza, and because we haven't planned it, I'll either say, yeah, I'm in the mood for that too, and we'll do that, or I'll be like, look, I'm just gonna eat, you know, whatever. I want to eat this at home, and then I'll go to McDonald's with you, or you can eat a pizza. And that was something I never did before, because I was so obsessed with planning my treat meals that sometimes I get to the weekend, I'd have a pizza because I had planned it and I had restricted myself all week, so I felt I deserved it. But then I still afterwards experienced so much guilt because I was like, I wasn't even in the mood for that, or it wasn't exactly what I wanted. I didn't listen to myself, and as a result you kind of start beating yourself up and spiraling into this negative mindset again, and labeling yourself as bad, which is just something I don't do anymore around food. One other thing I've noticed as well when I was journaling this week was sometimes, like let's say we'll go for brunch, or after dinner Connor will have a dessert and he'll have something sweet and I won't. And previously I would have been so strict on, I'm not having that because I don't want to like peak my insulin or peak my sugars, because I thought that would instantly mean I put on weight. And now I'll let myself, or I will just taste Connor's dessert without even thinking, and I'll enjoy that mouthful. And as a result of that, it just means that that kind of restriction isn't there, and it just means that the obsessive thoughts that later on in the evening or later on in the week, that feeling of, well, I didn't treat myself to that dessert that Connor had, I didn't have that bite, so now I really need it or I really deserve it, those thoughts just don't happen anymore. I just wanted to come on and just express how it's really easy sometimes when you're going through a tough patch with your eating or your body image or anything like that, something that you've struggled with for years, to fall back into a pattern of thinking that you haven't made any progress. And it's super important just to focus on the progress that you have made. And I just feel like this week was super tough for me, but I just took so much positive from it because I was just able to see how my attitude toward food has just completely transformed. And that's not to say that it is 110% healthy. I don't know who's to say what 100% healthy is when it comes to your attitude toward eating, but I definitely can see just leaps and bounds in my attitude and improvement in how I view my relationship with food. And yeah, I know that I'm not really offering kind of how I did it, and I would love to do a video if you guys would like kind of more of an in-depth video on how I feel. Like I could look back and really pinpoint the stages where these little changes happened and how they added up to create this final kind of revelation or complete transformation in my attitude. I do know from experience of doing therapy for years, even specific food therapy, that I never thought it was possible to change my attitude to food. And now, as a 33-year-old woman who is about to give birth to her first child, I'm just so happy that, you know, this has happened, and that also the fact that I now realize that I made progress with my attitude to food that I never thought was going to happen for me. People said it was, you know, that they had done it, and I just thought, I'm not that strong. I will never let go of my control over food. Because of the progress I have made and the progress I realize I have made, I believe more so in the possibility of also changing my attitude toward my body. Currently, it feels like I will never love my body, that I will always have these expectations, and I always judge myself, and I will always want to control how my body looks. But because of how my attitude to food has changed, I do believe that it's possible that one day, hopefully, I will be able to love my body. And if I can give that kind of sense of belief to you and maybe give you the steps that helped me, I would love to do that. So please do, if you want to comment below and ask any questions, or if you want to request the video, I would be happy to do it if there are people that want to listen. But again, I'm not an expert, and I definitely think that there have been times in my life where I've offered advice or said that I have healed myself, or that this is the way to do it, and then realized, God, when I look back, that I was still totally in the depths of an eating disorder, or, you know, of restrictive eating. So I do want you to take everything I say with a pinch of salt. It's not Bible. But anyway, I just wanted to come on and share my experience from this week and the revelations that came with it. I hope you enjoyed this extra little chat at the end of this vlog, and I am going to be picking up on Vlogmas from tomorrow. So thank you for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. Enjoy the holiday season, enjoy all the videos that are coming to my channel before the new year, and as always, please do request any kind of videos that you want. I love to see what you guys want. Have a lovely day.